Birchall, Jamie, Plymouth, a hectic, busy week for them. 2 players leaving, 2 more players coming in.
Yeah, it's definitely been a hectic time this week. Coach Marriott's obviously hoping that the new faces come in. They've obviously haven't had a great deal of time to kind of get used to the sets and the system, but hopefully the fact that there's 2 new guys in there is going to raise everybody else's game.
Well, let's take a look at the 2-team lineup, starting with the Plymouth Raiders, and we can see number 5, Chris Hines, makes his debut. So too does number 13, Sam Martin. Both of them going to come off the bench, and with Setti, who was a big scorer for the Raiders, no longer here, perhaps they might need a little extra offense from somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I mean the Raiders have got a talented team, right through number 4 and right to number 23. There's more than enough guys to pick up the slack, even though Trevor Setti was actually averaging 16.5 a game. Guys like Donald Robinson, big scorers. Lewis Sayers off the bench can be a spark and add some extra points. And it might give the opportunity for Gabe Haskins also and Ben Eves to come off the bench and try and pick up the slack somewhat.
And we'll take a look at the Plymouth lineup. And one thing you don't want to do with this team is allow them to get off on the 3-point line. Very good 3-point shooting team, very explosive. And of course, Ralph Bucci is a guy well known to Plymouth Raiders fans down here from the years back in the old EVL days.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph Bucci is, when Raiders were playing in Division 1 prior to 2004, he was hands down the best player in the league. So, I mean, for me personally, I was privileged to see him in his prime. Could absolutely do it all. Nowadays, not as much of a prolific scorer as he was back then, but he's refined his game, so he's just doing a little bit of everything and really stuffs the stat sheet every night he steps out.
Well, it'd be interesting to see Allison going out there. He's really the inside presence for his team, Durham Wildcats. It was obviously going to be a matchup with Walker, but with Walker gone, who was the one legitimate inside player that Plymouth had, it'd be interesting to see how they cope with him in the early stages of this game.
Yeah, very interesting. The first couple of minutes, the Raiders have obviously gone very, very small, but they're very, very quick. With Eves, you've got an explosive power forward. He's obviously going to be matching up inside, and obviously they've gone with a 3-guard lineup with Robinson, Haskins, and Pressey.
It's Bucci who gets the ball for the first offense of the game, and he hands it over. Ginty, one of those guys who likes a 3-point shot. Allison with the mid-range jumper. Good start by the Wildcats.
Yep. One thing Durham's definitely going to do, they're going to get through their sets. They're going to get work for each other. They're going to get each other open, unselfish. Allison getting the nice little baseline jumper.
Robinson drives in, kicks out to Pressey from behind the arc, doesn't go. 2 Wildcats fighting for it, and here comes Bucci. Bucci round the high screen. A little static here for a second, but then Ginty does find some space, can't convert. Easy rebound for Robinson. Stolen away, probably should have gone to George, tried to lob it over to Haskins, and easy lay in the other way. And that's something you can't afford to do against a team like Durham, give them those easy transition points.
Yeah, what you want to do is you want to make sure they're playing in the half court. You can't give them any cheap baskets like that, because even in the half court, they're going to get it done.
And we saw last time we were here, Plymouth struggling a little bit with their transition defense against Leicester, just not stopping the ball on occasions.
I mean, another thing that you can't do against this Durham team is let Bucci have as much room and time and space as he wants, because he will find the correct pass every time down the floor. He's a great passer as well as able to handle the ball and obviously score the ball.
Well, Hoffer, you could see he was excited. His eyes lit up there down in the low post against Haskins. Wanted to go to work at him. Had a nice move, just a little stutter on it. Called for the travel, but clearly that's something where he feels, judging by his body language on that first play, he's got an advantage there.
Well, obviously the Wildcats probably looked at the team sheet, saw that Raiders were lacking a little bit of size.
Oh,
great block.
Great block by Allison. Here's Hoffer racing through, draws the contact. No, he doesn't. Commits the travel. 2 travels in a row from Danny Huffman.
Going back to what I was saying about the Wildcats line, they probably looked at the Plymouth lineup, saw the height or the lack of from the Raiders, and trying to get their guards to go inside as much as possible.
Pressey can't convert close in. He touched the ball last, out of bounds. Raiders still looking for their first score of the game, 2 minutes in.
Probably a little bit of the the changes, the little bit of the pressure that's been around the team and the organisation this week. The nerves are looking like they're showing a little bit.
Nice work from Bucci in the low post. That's something he's very effective at these days.
Again, the Wildcats exploiting the lack of height down there for the Raiders.
Robinson well overcooked for three. Rebound for Bucci. Here's Ginty. And well, I think he was aiming for Bucci, and Bucci thought there was somebody beyond him and let it go, and it flew out of bounds. You do wonder how soon Coach Marriott will turn to his bench, look at his two new guys, and try and get them into the fold here.
But at the moment, like especially with the lack of height, not just down the one end of the floor on defense of the Raiders, but obviously with Allison, you've got a legitimate shot blocker inside. Nick George obviously taking it to the basket.
They needed that just to get the scoreboard ticking over. Took the best part of 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think probably too many jump shots being taken by the Raiders at the start of the game. Nick George taking it to his own hands there, getting inside for the easy.
Huffman as Ginty running to the wing. That pass a little over telegraphed and stolen away by Haskins. George, oh, another block! Wow. From Allison. He's a very athletic play. He is capable of that. And I just don't think George saw him.
No, I mean, he's obviously a very nimble big man as well. Moved his feet well there. Great timing on the shot block.
His second block of the game. Robinson. Back up top to Eves. Has got that range, but not on this occasion. Ginty to Bucci. Pressy going all the way out to Bucci, giving him a little bit more pressure. Inside to Allison, and he's fouled by George, will go to the line. And if he can get good touches inside, he is a good scorer. They're going to have problems with him.
And I think he will, because the guards on the Wildcat team, very patient. Like I said earlier, they get through their sets and they find the best guy that's in the best position at that particular time. Bucci can score, at will sometimes. But, he's very patient. That time they did get the ball inside, and again, lack of height for the Raiders. It's going to be a long night if they can't keep guys like Allison out the middle.
8 points to 2 in favor of Durham here in the early stages at the Plymouth Pavilions. Pressy round to Eves, given that 18-foot jump shot. I mean, in some ways, they needed to make one of these jump shots just to pull the defense out of it.
I mean, they've had pretty good looks, the Raiders. They haven't been taking bad shots. Obviously, Ben can make that shot, and hopefully he's just got some confidence to just keep shooting that with the rest of the guys as well.
Pressy harassing Bucci there. It's still a Wildcats ball, but only just. And they tried to get it into Bucci, did get it to him. Bucci trying to go back to work with a little step away. Tough shot. Oh, man. He almost wanted to do that. So, there's a poor pass from Pressy, stolen away by Ginty. Here comes Huffer, one-on-one with Eves. Huffer to the basket, lays it in.
Well, Ralph Bucci, you're looking at, I'm struggling to find more guys in the BBL that have more versatility than Ralph Bucci. Recognized that he had a mismatch, goes to the post move, and off 1 foot, extremely tough shot.
George trying to go to work again. I think he's got that sense in the first 4.5 minutes here that he's got the beating of his man, taking it to the basket. They've just got to establish him in the right places.
No, I mean, we're talking about, the Raiders maybe being a smaller team at the moment than the Wildcats. But the same token, the Wildcats have got to guard the, maybe the smaller, more athletic, quicker guys on the other side. So, it worked both ways. And Nick George exploiting that the first couple of minutes.
Well, a frustrated nod of the head there from George as that first one rimmed out. Big ooh as well from the crowd. Second one rattles in, and the Raiders up to 5. Slow start by the home team. Just a point a minute here in the opening stages. Bucci on to Ginty for 3. Can't give him even an inch of space. That's what he does to you.
Poor communication there from Raiders. Like I said, they're setting screens for each other, screens off the ball. Ralph Bucci's going to find his man. Ginty, obviously, is a pretty deadly 3-point shooter.
Little kick ball there. shot clock doesn't reset because it's holding on 15. It's into George, squares up Taha again, spins, just trying to bully his way to the basket. That's exactly what he did.
Nick George trying to take on a leadership role at the start of this game. Saw that his team was struggling with the points.
Bucci this time open for three, a little short on that one. Haskins with the rebound. Bit of tempo here from the Raiders. Haskins dumps it back to Robinson. Did well to get that shot past the Durham players. Almost stolen away by Pressey. Taha out in front. Gets it just
Great
to Bucci. Was a tremendous catch because it was very high to him. And 5.5 minutes into this ball game, Raiders find themselves in a 10-point hole, forcing Coach Marion into a timeout here.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Allison's definitely a big threat to Plymouth inside of the minute on the defensive end. And I won't be surprised if the new guy, Chris Hines, is coming off the bench in the not too distant future just to be some kind of interior presence for the Raiders on both ends of the floor.
Well, just as you say that, he takes his shooter shirt off, which gives the impression that he is going to come into the lineup. And obviously, it's been some week for these Raiders fans. I mean, every day in the local paper, seemingly a new story about what's been going on. It's been a very turbulent week. And hopefully they'll see the fruits of that here with these two new debutants. But you wouldn't want too much pressure to be put on Hines as he comes into the game now.
No, but at the same time, I think Coach Murray has been, I've been speaking to him a little bit about, about the lineup this week, and by all accounts, Chris Hines comes across as a leader, as well as obviously an interior force. But he just wants to win, and he's been very vocal, even though he's only been in the country for a few days. Obviously, that can only be beneficial for the Raiders.
Well, a nice little cheer for him, led by Foxy as he makes his way out onto court for the first time. The Raiders number 5. It will be a Plymouth ball, which Robinson, having realized that, runs all the way back down to the other end of the floor to inbound. Here he is, first touch for Hines. Throws it cross court to Pressey. Fires up for three, little short, long rebound comes out to Ginty. Hoffa is called for his 3rd travel of the game. He wanted to throw that outlet pass. Taha had broken out, realized the defense was there, so had to turn a pass into a dribble, and the referee said, no, I'm not buying that.
I think Plymouth got lucky there as well, because Durham were using the momentum. That could have been a bucket and could have taken this game out to 12.
Here's Matt Pressey. Back to George. Robinson pulls up from the top of the key, string music.
Donald Robinson, one of the best one-on-one players in the league. Super explosive, could get to the basket, but he can knock down those shots too.
Hines coming a long way out to guard Allison. It's also always interesting to see when you see the bigger guys come into the league for the first time, how they adjust to the way the game is called in this country. Bucci under pressure finds Ginty. Oh, Ginty rushed it. Didn't realize he had as much time. He was wide open. Here's George looking to drive. Kicks out to Eves in the corner. Not quite. And there's a foul on Hines, just pulling the shirt of Allison.
The last couple of Raiders offenses have been, not including that one, the couple before have been quite static. Need to set a few more screens, a few more ball reversals. Find the open man.
Huffer. Bucci. Ginty coming round. That's just inside the three-point line. George was a little slow to his feet there. And Hines manages to get the pass out. George seems to be okay now. Here's Robinson driving. Oh! Throws it down. You could tell as soon as he caught the ball, he was going to go jam.
One of the most exciting players to watch. Very similar to a dunk that Donald Robinson had early on in the season, taken off from way outside the key.
Oh, they missed the man back door twice in a row. This time it was Danny Huffer wide open. Just mental mistakes there on the last couple of defensive plays by the Raiders.
Tough when you have an exciting play that can energize the crowd to then come back and give up an easy basket. Momentum changer.
George had to think about the three and then did take it, knocks it down. Cuts the lead back down to 5. Ginty with a good head fake. Eves chasing it down, grabs the rebound. George just towed the line on that one. Would have only been worth 2, but it didn't go anyway. Here's Ginty pushing it the other way. Ginty dumps off. Atto with the shot, a little short. Hines has an easy rebound, bounce into his hands. Pressey just runs down. I think he was hoping that Ginty was going to buy the little shimmy at the top and move left or right. He didn't, and it's an offensive foul.
Great defense there from Ginty. Matt Pressey, explosive player, makes tough shots. Ginty beat him to the spot there, sacrificed his body. Great charge.
Durham call a timeout. Minute and a half to go here in the first quarter. Their lead is down to only 5. Really, cutting this lead, it had been as many as 12. It was just a couple of big plays by first Robinson with the dunk and then George with the 3. Other than that, you get the sense that Lee Davey will be relatively happy with the way these guys have played here in the opening 10 minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, any time a visiting team comes down to the pavilions, they know they're in for a tough game, regardless of who it is. Very happy, I'm sure, with the start, especially putting on 20 points on this team already with a minute and a half to go. But at the same time, the last minute and a half or so for the Raiders, the shots have started to fall, getting fast break points. So Jay Marriott's going to be probably happy with the last couple of minutes' work, but he's going to ask his team to kick it on a little bit.
Two teams making their way back out onto court. Offensive foul was the last play, so it'll be Durham possession. George running down court. In fact, 3 Raiders coming down. It looks like there might be, oh no, it's just a show of pressure. And they've left a man open. That man was Bucci, but he decides to recycle it back out to Ginty. Greco into the game for the first time. Bucci. So is Evans also in. Here's Ginty looking for some space. Shot clock's low. Bucci's got to shoot this. Didn't have time for the head fake. And the 24-second violation was called.
It was a pretty good offense before that. Probably 1 or 2 too many passes. But as a coach, maybe a little upset that it's a turnover, but at the end of the day, they're working for each other, they're moving the ball, they're finding open players, setting screens. Raiders defense picking up a little bit on that play.
Pressey drives in, tosses it up, that'll count for him. Foul called on Ellison, he'll go to the line for a bonus.
Pressey able to get it up and over the 6'10" Mike Allison, one of the best shot blockers in the league. It's his first.
The best shot blocker in the league, in fact. Just wanted to double check that. He averaged 2.4 a game coming in. And he's already got 2, although those averages, league averages. This is, of course, a trophy game, so it won't add to those. Well, again, left wide open at the top as Greco can't knock that shot down. Plymouth have a chance to tie the game here. Take the lead if this goes. Hines' shot doesn't go. Bucci has it. Bucci almost loses the handle. Robinson steals away. George is out in front. George will level the game with a big jam 15 seconds from the end of the first.
Uncharacteristic turnover there by Ralph Bucci. Normally his hands are safe as houses.
Ginty with the pull-up off the back of the ring. Bucci gets the rebound, got to shoot it, doesn't see the clock. He didn't realize that it was the end of the quarter, And, well, great start by Durham, good response by Plymouth.
Yep, that quarter was a quarter of two halves.
Certainly was. We're at the end of one here at the Pavilions. It's the Raiders 19, the Wildcats 19. Welcome back to the Pavilions. Tied at 19 at the end of the first quarter. Mike Allison with a big first quarter with block shots and rebounds at the other end of the floor. It's been very much Nick George pacing the Raiders. He leads all scorers with 8. And Plymouth, who've been behind for the whole of the first quarter, have a chance to take the lead. And Martin, their other debutant, is into the game for the first time. But Hines is called for the travel. And that's, again, one of the adjustments you often see with guys coming into the BBL for the first time, coming into Europe for the first time from college basketball. They let you away with that extra little step there.
Yeah, not only that, but and especially with big guys, the physicality and how much contact you're allowed to get away with.
Evans, again, there's been a few times in this game so far where the Wildcats have just got to the basket way too easily. Here's Martin, penetrates, kicks, good ball movement. Sayers in the corner for 3. Shot doesn't go. Hines with the rebound, looking for some help out. Been in the lane a long time there, no whistle. The shot doesn't go. Greco drives to the basket off the glass, and that's good for 2. And 4 in a row in the opening minute for the Wildcats.
Tough shot from Greco there, going pretty much at full speed, able to take the slight bump, finish off the glass.
Martin down to Hines. Head fake, drives baseline. Kicks it out, but it's stolen away by Evans. Ginty. Huffer in the corner fires up for 3. And, well, their lead had evaporated at the end of the first quarter, and it's come right back at the start of the second.
Yeah, Plymouth had the momentum going into that first quarter break. Durham have obviously gone ahead and snapped that.
Pressy, quick attack. In some ways, that's where their best, they've missed Huffer down court, and he will just jam it in. Again, transition. How do you get beat down court on a score?
Lack of communication there. Whichever guy was the last guy back, that's got to be the safety. Lack of communication, lack of talking.
Cross court, Haskins with the head fake. Haskins drives in. And I was trying to say a moment ago, some of their best action has been when they attack the basket like that.
Yeah, one thing Sam Martin obviously does very well is penetrate and kick out the shooters. Already a couple of times in the small amount of time he's been in there, he's found open shooters, something that maybe Raiders have been missing this season.
Huffer's shot doesn't go. Here is Martin, drives to the hole, tosses it up and gets his first points on the board.
Yeah, another tough shot, similar to Greco's one before. Nice little matchup these two have got going on.
A little back and forth here at the start of the second quarter. Wildcats starting well, building up a Nice little lead. Raiders back into it, and Ginty stretches the advantage back out to 5.
Tough to guard when you've got guys, you know, the 4 guys on the court for the Wildcats. All 4 of them can knock down the outside shot.
Hines just bobbled the ball and eventually does go up for the jam. That's his first point. So the 2 debutants with back-to-back scores here at the Pavilions.
Nice little dunk to get your season's points underway.
Evans driving in, kicks out. Huffer, head fake, and 4th traveling violation called against Danny Huffer today. I don't know, is there a stat for that? But he's on record pace if somebody keeps that sort of stat.
And that's something that sticks in your mind as well. Every time you want to put the ball on the floor, you're thinking about, is this going to be a travel? Shall I just shoot it instead? Obviously talking to the referees a little bit. Obviously disagrees with their viewing on his footwork.
Well, that's one where he just didn't, I guess, realize or thought differently to the official as to which was his pivot foot, because it's really one that shouldn't be committed at all. I mean, no travel really ought to be, but that was, oh, Pressey just reaching round, and Ginty's clutching his ankle as he tries to get back to his feet. I think he's okay. He's just going to hobble out. I think Bucci was going to come in for him anyway. It does look like he's got ankle straps on, so he's got some extra protection there.
It's amazing to think that Ralph Bucci predominantly back in his early days with Teesside in Division 1 was primarily a 2-guard who was, you know, an outstanding shooter, you know, and he's quite comfortable, you know, in the BBL, going to point guard, just running the show, letting other guys do the scoring. Obviously chips in with a bunch of rebounds and assists.
Krecker, nice spin, but again, how many times have Durham got to the basket? Huffer there with a little gamble, but it didn't hurt them at all, as he does get back to defend Robinson here. Here's Haskins, penetrates through, kicks out, good ball movement. Robinson left open for 3, doesn't go, and Bucci grabs an easy ball. Evans spins back the other way. Great defense from Haskins, just ripped the ball out of his hands and ran back the other way. Robinson drives in, kicks out. Martin in the corner for 3, not quite. And Bucci's going to get called for a little push there as Eves has the inside position.
Both teams smaller, quicker lineups in there at the moment, which makes good for a good, nice, quick up and down game.
Well, that was only the 3rd foul of the game against Durham. There have only been 7 fouls in total in 15 minutes, which some might say has something to do with the way you play defense. Or not, as the case may be. You've certainly seen both teams able to get to the basket, particularly George for the Raiders. Huffer penetrates, a little running shot. That one doesn't go. Good work from Krecker to grab that rebound. Had
nice
no
play.
right to get that rebound, really.
Nice play in there, great tip. Able to get his hand to it, somehow gather it. Great little jump hook off the glass. That's 2 in a row. Dave Haskins, 2 in a row from the same spot. They're gonna have to get up on him a little bit there. He'll make that shot all day.
Evans round the screen. Eves stops him, but again, turns, goes the other way, gets his own rebound, sticks it back in.
Another tough rebound. Raiders playing without a recognized center or 5-man. Paying the price on the offensive glass.
Well, that just slipped out of Robinson's hands.
I wasn't sure whether Hufford had got a piece of that, but obviously not.
It'll be Hoffa to inbound. And it'll be Bucci across the halfway line. 4 minutes to go here in the first half at the Pavilions. It's the Wildcats who've led throughout, who lead by 5 at this moment. Bradacio's shot doesn't go. Look for a second like Greco was having his shirt pulled.
There's that man again with the offensive glass.
Still managed
to get a body on him.
Finish it off. Martin. Robinson. Short. Tipped up in the air. Oh, they kind of got in each other's way, but Robinson managed to keep it in bounds and lay it in. And it was enough for Lee David to call a timeout. 5 points between them, 3.5 minutes to go in this first half. Don't think Davies got up off the bench. He was telling me earlier, I was chatting to him before the game, he's not been out of bed since Wednesday. He's been a bit ill. And I think that's limited his input on the sidelines. But he has got up now to try and brief his team. And they lead by 5, and certainly looking either way. It looks like Coach Marriott a bit more animated at his guys right now.
I mean, I think it's definitely been a game so far of just small runs. And that's obviously the great thing about this game. You know, Durham would get on a little bit of a run, make some shots. Plymouth come back, a few shots of their own. Durham would be in a little bit of a slump, and that's the way it's gone for the first 16, 17 minutes of the game. That's a long way to come from Durham down to Plymouth if you're ill, and you know, all credit to Coach Davey for making the trip and leading his troops into battle.
Back out come the two teams. 3.5 to play, first half. BBL trophy action this. Winner goes through, loser out of the competition. Was for many years, they had a pool stage in the early goings of the trophy. Straight knockout now.
It's a competition that's very close to a lot of these Plymouth fans' heart. Raiders' only piece of BBL silverware came 2007 in this competition.
Hoffa for 3, almost won it again a couple of years ago, the Raiders. That was in that year where they had a 2-legged final, wasn't it?
That's right, yep.
Won the home leg by 9, lost the away leg by 9, went to overtime.
Yep, 2007, Newcastle were beaten in their own court, and then obviously a few years later, getting a little bit of vengeance in both cup competitions.
Robinson, nice pass. Hines didn't realize he had the lane in front of him. Poor pass, Evans breaks it up. Greco, it was asked a lot to get to that pass, but he turned on the jets and managed to catch the ball up.
Greco having a nice little game here early on.
He's up to 8 points. Only Hoffa has more for his team. Haskins now for 3. Hit those 2 mid-range, now stretched it a bit.
Gabe Haskins playing a few more minutes here tonight than he's been used to the last few games. Giving Coach Marriott a thing to think about.
4 of 5 shooting now, Haskins. Allison backing down, forced back out. Hoffa has it. Hoffa penetrates, throws it up. Allison saves it, good work. Throws it off the legs of Woods out of bounds. Martin comes in for Haskins. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Hoffa gets it away, doesn't quite go, and Hines grabs that rebound. Robinson has Woods with him, and George doesn't need it, or he does need Woods in the end, and Woods is blocked, but there was a foul in there first by Evans, I think it was.
Tom Wood's first game back for a few weeks. He's had a pretty severely damaged ankle sprain in a game on the road up in Birmingham. Was hospitalized up in Birmingham, and fortunately with the Raiders it wasn't a break, but just a severe ankle sprain.
He gets himself on the board here with that first free throw. This could make it a 2-point game with just under 2 to play. Doesn't, but George gets an offensive rebound. That's an even better outcome for the Raiders. It's down to 1. They've yet to lead here, Plymouth.
Great
Huffer,
pass.
wide open, knocks it down.
Ralph Bucci, masterclass there on crossing the ball, getting to the middle. And it's a part of the game of basketball that's really kind of evolved with the penetrating kick. A couple of years ago, I was at the Olympics in international basketball. So many point guards tend to, when they drive, you don't see it as much in the BBL. You see point guards trying to get to the basket and finish them themselves. But international basketball, you really see the penetrating kick or the penetrating kind of dump down low. So Ralph Bucci showing it all there, the crossover, and obviously the presence of mind to find the open guy in the corner.
Well, Nick George going to the free throw line to shoot a couple. He was trying to make the case to the referee that the basket should count. He thought there might be a goaltend. Allison did swipe the ball away, but a legal block, says the official. But a legal block in the sense it doesn't go down as a block because the foul was called. George makes both from the free throw line. Evans turns around, sees no defense on him, so he'll bring the ball over the halfway line. Bucci. Bucci trying to go to work, steps under, and Hines caught him coming from the help side, slashed him across the arm.
Ralph Bucci looking like Kevin McHale. A little up and under step through, great footwork. Savvy play, able to get to the line.
Well, the referee actually gave that one on Martin. Certainly Hines had the arm, but obviously Martin must have got a bump foul first. It's only his first personal foul. It would have been Hines' second, so it's probably a better outcome for the Raiders. Bucci makes both of them. 4-point Wildcat lead, less than a minute to go here in the second quarter. Stolen away by Huffer. Has Allison with him if he needs him. He might not. He might. He does, and Allison still keeps hold of the ball, gets it back out to Huffer. And they can take some time off the clock here if they want to. Bucci drives baseline. Kreco. There's two guys slipped over there. I don't know if there's a damp patch, but both guys went down quickly, and the Raiders can have the final one here because the shot clock is switched off. They trail by 4. Robinson glances up, sees 15 seconds to go. Doesn't want to go too early here, Eves. Blocked by Allison again. Rebound, Evans has a look at the clock. Bucci will get to the halfway line before he has to pull up. Too high. Well, as you said earlier, Jamie, very much a game of spurts here. Durham got out to a great start. The Raiders have come back, and it sort of followed that pattern in the first half.
Yeah, neither team really able to get a foothold and create a big run, like a 10-0 run, something like that. It's been, 5-6 here and there, but then obviously the other team, whichever team had the run, the other team would come back and have one of their own. So very nip and tuck, and obviously it's the way we like it, nice and close at the half.
It is indeed. At the half here in the pavilions, it's Plymouth 41, Durham 45. Welcome back to the pavilions. Tip-off just a few moments away here, and we've been poring over the stats at halftime. Jamie, what's leapt off the page for you?
I think first and foremost, the rebounding situation. Raiders 13 rebounds, Durham outworking them, out-muscling them with 19, including 6 offensive rebounds. So that's something that Coach Marriott obviously is going to want to be trying to address, or will have addressed at halftime, and something that Coach Davies going to be absolutely delighted about the domination of the ball in the first half.
Well, the interesting thing about it is you can say, oh yeah, team's got a lot of offensive rebounds. It's because they miss shots. You have to miss shots to get offensive rebounds, but Wildcats shooting above 50% from the floor, still getting 6 offensive rebounds, 6 of the 16, if you look at it, 10 defensive rebounds the other way. That's a really healthy percentage for them.
Yeah, and I think one thing Durham have done very well was at the start of the game, Raiders obviously went with a very small lineup, and they've obviously capitalized off that. Wildcats guards, a little bit bigger than Raiders guards, able to get above their man on offense, grab those rebounds, but obviously the bigs in Pedascio and obviously Mike Allison as well. They're doing a good job on the defensive glass.
Two teams making their way back out here. Third quarter about to get underway. It's the Raiders who trail the Wildcats by 4. Durham will start with the ball at the beginning here of the third quarter. Durham led all the way through that first half. Plymouth never in front, only actually level for 16 seconds in total. But it doesn't matter any of that. It's all about who's ahead at the end of the game.
I think another thing that sticks out, Donald Robinson, very quiet first half, being kept to only 6 points. He's averaging 18 for the game, so the Wildcats doing a great job on defense.
Here he is trying to force a pass through. Bucci eventually came up with it. Ginty has it, Huffer ahead of him, Attar on the trail. Allison, I think he was trying to catch it and he couldn't quite get to it and ended up finger-tipping it in. They've started the quarters well thus far, the Wildcats, looking to do that again. Pressie's 3 doesn't go, and Hines finds himself with a lot of space in the ball, and Ginty on the floor saying, what was that, ref?
See, again, Coach Marriott probably looking at Chris Hines there to start in the first part of this particular half, addressing that rebounding situation, hopefully for the Raiders, that is. He's going to be required get rebounds both ends of the floor.
It's Allison who gets another offensive rebound. I just think it's a bit quick after an offensive rebound to fire up a shot like that, unless you're under the basket. Stolen away by Huffer. Hines is chasing him back. Hines is lining him up. Hines blocks him. Robinson out to George in the corner for 3. String music. Big play at either end for the Raiders.
Again, something lacking for the Raiders the first part of this season. Been interior defense, having that presence. Shane Walker's a good shot blocker. Chris Hines replacing those 2 guys, showing that he can block shots as well.
Allison drawing the foul on the contact. Hines called for his second personal foul. There was that one late in the second quarter where it looked like he could easily have been called for that, but he wasn't, so it is only 2 on him. First one good for Mike Allison.
Having a solid season, Mike Allison, 12 points a game, 8 rebounds a game. And obviously, as you mentioned earlier, 2.5 blocks a game to go with that, so pretty solid numbers for him.
Well, he's up on that in terms of rebounds already in this game. George with back-to-back threes, and for the first time in the ball game, Plymouth are ahead. Nick George moves up to 20 now.
See Nick George at the start of this game looked like he wanted to take the ball by the horns. He's continued doing that in this half.
Ginty to reply. Good offensive rebound again by Huffer. Just right place, right time.
And at the moment, the Wildcats just want it more.
Well, Ginty throws it away there. Hines looking to push down court. They've left George open in the corner again. 3 in a row for Nick George. That's about recognition when you come back off the defense to make sure you know where the guy with the hot hand is. Ginty driving, trying to get himself to the basket. Ball was out of bounds. It will be a Raiders ball. Timeout called. 3 minutes into the second half by Durham. Ginty having a chat with the referee. I think he was initially saying, I got fouled there, ref. Ref said no. Then he might have changed his argument, but he blocked it as well, so it should have been our ball. Referee says, you go see your coach. He's called a timeout. You trailed by 4.
I think he got a little bit of contact there from Pressey at the top as well. Obviously wanted that call, but then after he drove, he felt he got fouled as well. So a little bit of frustration obviously creeping in there. But great momentum changer, Nick George. All 3 of those 3 pointers coming from the corner pocket. Coach Davey, obviously, one of the things he's going to be talking about, I'm sure, is the defensive rotations. Keep an eye on Nick George. Obviously, for Raiders, they're going to know they're going to look to try and key on him, so all the other guys are going to have to get open too.
Well, as well, I mean, you saw on that last play down, you've got to know where he is in transition, because he was just wide open there. That's about defensive recognition as much as anything else. So Raiders certainly with the momentum. Interestingly, Ginty's come out of the timeout, found a different referee to talk to.
Be interesting to see whether the momentum's going to continue the pattern it has for this game now, because you'd expect the Wildcats to come gunning back with a little 5-0 run of their own.
Well, that has been the way of the game. Biggest run either side had in the first half was 8 points. Here's George, thought about another one, stepped underneath, and hits. He's just got the hot hand right now.
Nick George there showing not just a jump shooter from the corner, a pull-up jump shooter. He can take the ball off the floor, knock it down from anywhere on the court there.
Shot clock down to 6 now for Bucci around the screen, trying to spin through the double team. He's called for the traveling violation before he gets it out to Hoffa. And Evans is going to check back into the game, and the Wildcats are wobbling at the moment.
Big possession here.
Pressey. Robinson thinks about the 3, takes the step back 2 and knocks it down. And from 2 points down, the Raiders have hit 10 in a row to lead by 8. You need to stop the bleeding here, Durham. A couple of offensive rebounds helps. Bucci onto Hoffa. They really need this. They don't get it, but they get another offensive rebound with Evans. Overcooked it. Hines with the rebound. Has George ahead of him and Robinson too. Here's George. George drives through. Robinson this time in the corner. Drives baseline, is blocked. Ball is loose. It comes all the way back out to Pressey. Pressey with the pull-up 3. Another one. Raiders on fire.
And the Raiders defense has picked up. Last couple of minutes, Durham shots aren't falling. That's led to jump shots. Obviously the biggest lead of the game for the Raiders.
Well, you think when Allison made that free throw, best part of 2 minutes into the quarter, it was 48-46. It's now 48-59. Some 3 minutes without a score by Durham has seen Plymouth rattling 13 without reply. Ginty with the pull-up, finally. They needed that. They need some stops as well now. Hines is now going to show his range from three-point land, doesn't quite go. All stolen away by Robinson. Drives in and jams it down. The shot blocker went up to challenge him, but Donald Robinson went right past and jammed it in.
If Donald Robinson has got a one-on-one, he's got a step to the basket, you might as well let him go, because pretty much there's only going to be one outcome. And you saw it right there.
Greco did a good job off the bench in the first half. Another offensive rebound. Ginty with the pull-up jump shot. Evans just making a nuisance of himself on that low block for the offensive rebounds. Lobbed in towards Eves, and Greco was riding him underneath.
Durham doing a great job at this end on the offensive glass. They must have near enough 10.
Second personal foul called against Greco there.
Danny Huffer seems to be all over the place.
11 offensive rebounds, according to the official stats. In fact, 12. They just updated that last one down. Robinson gets a breather with Haskins coming back in.
George's spot.
Oh, tough one. As Evans dived out for the challenge.
Nick George is feeling it. Wildcats going to have to key on and in on him, or it could be a long second half for them.
27 points, 10 of 13 shooting for Nick George, including a perfect 4 of 4 from the three-point line. Another turnover, this one by Ginty. Hines gets it onto Woods. Here's George again. Might as well just let him shoot it. Tries to zip it cross-court to Pressey. Pressey, little turnaround for two, and Raiders just look a completely different team here in the second half. Full of confidence, everything going up, everything going in.
Matt Pressey obviously playing off the ball. For the majority of this season, he's been the Raiders' starting point guard. Obviously with Haskins playing more minutes in this particular game, it allows Pressey to play off the ball. Not kind of feel so bad about, you know, taking shots that ordinarily he may not be taking when he's playing point guard.
Well, you get 3 timeouts in the second half as opposed to the 2 in the first half. But you don't often see a team burn 2 of them in the first 7 minutes of the second half. But that's what the Wildcats have been forced to do, because they've trailed here by 13 and just lost all the momentum that they had. Nick George just wrestled it away from them.
It's tough because now it's tough for Durham. You know, they're going to be keying in on Nick George. Obviously Raiders with Donald Robinson and Matt Pressey, Ben Eves, they've got a lot of weapons. So obviously any guy can step up at any point of the game.
Well, that will be the key thing here now for Plymouth, just trying to maintain that momentum. Sometimes you get on a little bit of a roll and everything's going in, and maybe you take 1 or 2 ill-advised shots, but the scoreboard makes you feel comfortable and confident, and you've got to be able to sustain that, finish the game off properly.
Getting the offensive rebounds for Durham is going to be causing maybe a little bit, probably the most concern at the moment, because it seems like that could be the only way at the moment that Durham are going to get back in this game, is by hustling, getting those offensive rebounds, those second chance points. Raiders going to look to try and cut that supply off and make Durham earn it the old-fashioned way.
Well, noise just cranked up here for the home fans getting behind their team. Haskins to Pressey. Pressey from the top of the key, that one doesn't go. Huffer with the rebound, that's the sort of shot. Evans drives baseline, lays it in. That's the sort of thing, when you're feeling comfortable, you take those sort of shots. If they don't go in, you can get punished for 2 at the other end. Hines now knocks one down 18 feet. Evans spins into a double team off the glass, gets his own rebound, and just taps it back in.
Again, Durham just wanting it that little bit more on the offensive glass.
3rd offensive rebound for Evans, 13th by the visitors.
And often it's been the shooter that's been able to get his own rebound.
Ginty pushing. Ginty gets it to Greco and lays it in for 2. And I was just saying a minute ago, you've got to be careful. Don't let the momentum slip away from you if you're the Raiders.
Last couple of times down, the Raiders have got back very, very slowly.
George, it's the 3, 5 of 5 from behind the arc. He has 30 points, and we're still 2 minutes from the end of the 3rd quarter.
Nick George unconscious shooting. Splashing shots from all over the floor.
Bucci going to check back in, so too Robinson. Evans. Nice dish off. Oh, good finish as well by Bucci.
Oh, Bucci showing some hang time.
Used his body well there and the basket. Well, we had a game earlier in the year where Zaire Taylor went 7 of 7. Ended up, I think it was 8 of 9 from the three-point line. George, he just toed that one. It was only worth 2. Couldn't quite get his feet behind the line.
He is feeling it right now. I mean, you would have thought he would have caught and shot that. He's got so much confidence. He took that step back, that dribble. Only a matter of centimeters between 2 and a 3.
When you're shooting 12 of 15, it's a little wonder he's feeling confident. Evans drives in. Evans to the hole, converts, and the foul is called.
Evans been relentless in getting to the basket. Seeing the smaller guy on him.
Sayers going to check back into the game. So too Martin, as Cressy and Haskins sit down. Evans at the line, trying to make this a single-figure lead. Wildcats just got to hang on in there and hope at some point Nick George cools down and they might find some way back into it. But in the meantime, it's the Raiders with a double-figure lead. Good work from Evans. Oh, but he couldn't quite come up with it.
Got to get that back.
They got to shoot it.
Good defense from Wildcats.
Out of bounds. It's a Raiders ball. There's only 2 on the shot clock. Well, my guess is they're going to try and free up George here, but you've got to get it to who you can get it to. 2 seconds is enough time for a dribble on the shot.
Sayers open.
Sayers fires up. Sayers here! Big shot! Crowd like that, isn't it? Oh, Robinson almost stole it. Greco comes back, Robinson caught him, and he'll go to the line for 2.
Lewis Sayers representing England last week at the BBL Cup final. He hit a similar shot. On the shot clock buzzer. I was talking to him about it earlier before the game, and he was talking me through it. Pretty much an identical shot just there. He's obviously got a knack of hitting those big shots on the shot clock buzzer.
Hit one earlier in the season, late in the game, I remember, up at Worcester as well. Key shot down the stretch.
I think that game in particular has been kind of a benchmark for the Raiders to kind of strive for every game. Against an excellent Worcester team.
Top of the league, still the Wolves. Robinson looking to break down the defense. Hines thinks about the 3, takes the long 2 instead, and that'll do it for an excellent third quarter by the Plymouth Raiders, by Nick George in particular. His 3-point shooting, he went boom, 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 3 in a row, and really blew out this lead.
Nick George looked up for this game right from the very start, and he's obviously continued that hot shooting, showing exactly why he's got GB caliber.
He's perfect from the 3-point line in 5 attempts, 32 points for George. We've still a quarter to go. It's the Raiders by 12. Ten minutes to go here at the Pavilions. Plymouth, who trailed for the whole of the first half, with a 13-point unanswered burst, highlighted by Nick George's excellent three-point shooting, start this quarter with a 12-point lead. Broken up by Ginty. Use of the foot. In old money, that would reset the shot clock, but it's holding on 15. Here's George. 32 points in the game already. Cross court, Martin thinks about the three, steps underneath, and knocks down the two.
A 1-2 punch from the new guys there.
Ginty almost loses it. Just about gets it back, does he? No, it's still bobbling about. And George has it, he's got men ahead of him. And in the end, he doesn't need any of them. And Nick George just has a word with Evans in his ear. George going through for the dunk. Evans fouled him. Old-fashioned no dunking rule.
Well, when you're down by 14,
yep.
I don't think Evans had much choice there. Something I think if Nick George was on the other side of it, he would tell you he would have blocked it, but
yeah. Well, he might have been perfect from the three-point line. That's actually his second missed free throw of the game. And he does make the second. 33 personal for Nick George.
Durham a little bit static. Brady's turned the defense up a little bit. Doesn't matter though.
Huffer knocks down the three. Their problem is they can't afford to trade scores here. They need to string some stops together. Here's George. Drives in. And, well, I was about to say they haven't found a way of stopping him, but comes up short on that. Only his fourth missed field goal of the game. Huffer gets it to Bucci. Bucci, lane opens up, kicks it out to Evans for three. Bucci had a good position inside, gets the rebound. Well, I heard a slap up here, but Robinson gets away with it.
That one. Very frustrating, I think, for the Wildcats there. The referees may have missed that one at the one end, but then obviously come down and call. I think that's what Danny Huffer's maybe having a word to Hayden Jones about there.
Well, I mean, the referee signaled he got the ball, but we're a lot further away from it than the referee, but it sounded like a big slap on the arm, didn't it?
I think the referees may have missed that one, but they've been pretty good so far. Not many talking points.
Robinson then at the line, trying to stretch the lead back out. And bring 80 up with 8 minutes to go. And if you think through the first 5 minutes, they had 5 points on the board. What's that, 27 minutes, 75 points? It's pretty good going. .74 is not bad either.
I mean, we said at the top of the show about, see, Trevor Setti, 16.5 points a game. The Raiders, like I was saying, have a lot of weapons, a lot of guys who can pick up the slack.
Well, Nick George has done it on his own, hasn't he? As Robinson drives through. Ginty with a tough pull-up. Not sure that's the best option when you're down 13.
Yep, 7:45 to go. You don't want to come down and try and get the best possible shot you can, a little bit more patient. I think he's apologising there to Evans for the rush shot.
Well, I think he can apologise to his coach as well, because he's just been pulled off. Is Pressy. Martin. A little short on that one. The defender might have had a little touch on the ball. Bucci. Greco lines up the three. Tip down.
Ralph Bucci doing all he can to get his team back in this ball game.
Martin off the glass for two.
A couple of missed shots there from Ralph Bucci's teammates. But he's serving up on a plate at the moment. Wide open three-point shots. And now posting up the younger Lewis Sayers.
He's going to back him down as well. Spins baseline, goes back to the lane, finds Allison with the little jumper. Doesn't quite go at two bounces, but there's Evans again. He's been a real nuisance on the offensive glass.
Great hustle, Evans.
Trying to get a steal there. Sayers drives in, dumps off, and Hines with the chip.
Very promising young British player, Lewis Sayers. Plays with absolutely no fear at all, which I love.
Bucci trying to get it cross-court to Greco. Did get there in the end. Back to Huffer for three. Little short. And Hines on the floor. It's the second time he's had a rebound down there. Keeps it alive.
And I think that's over double figures there for Hines in rebounds.
Certainly is. He's only a basket away from a double-double. Pressy with the shot doesn't go. Spin move by Evans. Evans driving hard, has it knocked away. And they're going to give that one to Durham.
Hines definitely added a little bit of steel in there for Raiders defensively on defensive rebounds. One thing they may have been lacking all season is that the guy that could potentially get you 15 rebounds in an encounter.
Huffer drives to the hole. They need some stops, so Durham. They've managed to keep the scoreboard ticking, but they haven't stopped it at the other end. And that has been their problem in the last 10 minutes or so. Trading scores isn't going to get it done for them. Hines looking for some space along the baseline. Robinson. Martin at the top for three, short. Hines trying to beat that to the sideline and does, but they end up turning it away. We've got numbers here, Durham. Greco gets it to Evans and he lays it in. It's not beyond the realms of possibility here. 5 minutes ago, 11 points. Just think back to the game we covered last week. 4 minutes ago, 11 points. And Leicester ended up winning that one by 3. But it's going to take something as impressive from Durham. I'm not quite sure where it's going to come from at the moment. Timeout called. 83-72 the score, 4:39 to go here.
One thing Durham will feel positive about, the last few times down the floor, not only have they been able to kind of stop the Raiders, but also at the other end, they are getting up really wide open looks. They haven't been able to knock a couple of the shots in the first half or drop-ins. So they can continue getting stops, knock a couple of those shots down. The three ball is obviously going to be a major weapon for them. As you said, nothing's impossible in this game. See the foul situation as well.
There is a real one, is there?
4:39. Raiders have no fouls. If they can get Durham another foul or so, they'll being the penalty, that'll make the Wildcats' job even more difficult.
I think 7 fouls in the whole game on the Raiders. And there's only been, I think, 9 against the Wildcats. It's my guesstimate totaling it up. I probably ought to just... 8 to 9 it is. There we go, poor maths in the first place. 17 fouls in the game, that's really low. Bucci. Bucci drives through, kicks out to Hoffa for 3. That's way short.
Again,
They got to shoot it though. It did come down in Durham's hands, but 24-second violation is the call.
Again, some penetrating kick from Bucci.
And that was one of them. Just get a score on the board, get it back into single figures with 4 to play. Worst case scenario, you take 24 seconds off the clock and don't score, because the clock and the scoreboard are both against you. That'll be a jump ball situation. Possession arrow pointing the way of Durham, so at least they get a stop. Well, they need to pick up the pace here, Durham. Less than 4 to play. Got to find 11 points somewhere.
And everything going through Bucci.
And Bucci going through everything. Greco with the spin. Little toss up. Allison knew it was short, tried to tip it in. Cressy wisely slows it down. In no hurry, Plymouth. Oh, nice. And, oh, Eves can't finish. Allison going in for the block, but that was a beautiful little pick and roll dump down to Eves. Being hypercritical, probably should have scored, but at least he drew the foul. Greco sits down, Ginty back in. Eves on the free throw line. Makes the second. George trying to pressure up court. Ginty does get the ball. Hoffa.
Great cross-court pass.
Got to make it though. Does make it. Back down to 9. 3 minutes to go.
Again, Wildcats getting good looks at the basket. Probably haven't shot the ball as well in this fourth quarter as they would have liked. They'll be happy to get that score down to 9.
Cressy off the back. Grabs with a rebound Hoffa. They get a score here. Plymouth might start to worry a little. But they get a steal instead. Good foul to stop the fast break. But that was when they needed a score there, Durham. They're over the limit. So it will be free throws, but when the clock is ticking, you might as well send them to the line as give them a wide open layup. Martin makes them both. Back into double figures goes the lead. Evans attacks the basket, kicks it out. Bucci just bobbled it a second. Shot clock into single figures. Bucci steps back for 3, little short. Rebound Hoffa. Hoffa gets it off quickly. Doesn't go though. 2 minutes to go. Just can't see it happening, can you?
What with the moment that turnovers like that, you never know.
Ginty to the hole, and George trying to take a charge, and the guy kind of beat him, sort of leaned into it a bit, and is called for the defensive foul.
The referee's calling the game a little bit more tightly now. That's 147.
A few boos from the home fans. I think that's green spectacles on. That looked like a good call from where we're stood. Minute 47 to go. Looks for all the world as though Plymouth are going to hang on to this one. Damage really done in the third quarter by Nick George. And of course, this is the BBL trophy. Straight knockout. Advance through to the next stage. It's amazing how you can kick-fire a season on the back of a good cup run. Did make the semi-finals of the BBL Cup, of course, going out to the eventual winners Leicester, but be a boost to the confidence for the Raiders.
Yeah, and it's a tournament or a competition that you really want to stay in, because Raiders currently in 6th place. You'd say it would be extremely unlikely for them to make a BBL championship title run. So obviously if you lose a game like this, the cup's gone, the trophy's gone, the league championship's gone. So then you're playing for the rest of the season thinking about getting a good playoff berth, and obviously the playoffs are your only hope. So to stay in this cup or this trophy competition as long as possible will be a huge deal to the Raiders, but also to the Wildcats as well.
Obviously Bristol getting through with the upset win. So potentially, well, as local as they come in derbies down this way, could face Bristol in the next round, which would be an intriguing tie. And obviously, you know, you play a team from the lower league, you fancy your chances, although I'm sure Surrey said that going into the game on Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, Bristol, we've had a couple of encounters with Bristol over the last few years, pretty much in pre-season games. They've got a great program down there, and obviously that's going to be great for the organisation, especially giving them confidence for coming into the BBL next season.
Yeah, Bristol, one of the expansion teams, joining the league next year, and they're also the only unbeaten team in the history of BBL. 1-0 in their competition so far. Be interested to see how long they can keep that run going. Yeah. Full court pressure coming from the Wildcats. There's Brayton. Once you get over the, oh, almost stolen away. Yes, it is stolen away.
And Evans making himself a...
George called for the foul. Thought for a second Huffer was going to be called for another travel, but it was a foul. Third foul on George.
Evans been a nuisance the entire game for Durham. Defensively, but also on the offensive glass.
He's done a good job for them off the bench. 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 of them at the offensive end, 7 of 10 shooting as well. Done a good job defensively. Really been a spot for them today. They've got to score here if they're to have any hope, really. Three-pointer would be nice. That's a pull foul by Martin. He turns around to the referee and gives the impression of an innocent man, but he dragged his arm there.
Yeah, and can't be too surprised. Somebody's got to tell him about who Ralph Bucci is, how long he's been around. He's going to get that call.
I think you get that call no matter who it is, don't you? But yeah,
I, so.
I know what you mean. Lobbed into Allison. Allison to the basket, can't convert. Hines pulls it away, and Ginty went down as if he caught one in the face, but he seems to be all right now. Nick George, that's a goaltender, isn't it? No, but George at the second attempt does convert.
Well, I think it's a bit of a given who MVP of tonight's game's going to be.
Yeah, not much of a choice for the home sponsors. I'm sure they'll have an easy pick on that one. Huffer, on that last play, Huffer signaled pointing upwards as if to throw the alley-oop. Ginty did, and then Huffer ran along the baseline. Thrown long to George, too long. Did he touch it? If he didn't, it'll be an end-line ball right where they threw it from. He did. It's an end line at the other end. No, he didn't touch it, said the referee. Well, they're still playing hard, Durham. I can't see it myself with 58 seconds to go, but good to see them going right to the very end.
I mean, since they've come into the BBL, it's been nothing but excellent commitment by all Durham players. No different in this game.
Bucci with the assist. And it's laid in by Evans. Huffer, they're in foul mode. The only problem is they're in a position where they haven't committed enough foul. Oh, they have committed, I'm looking the wrong way. But they're in a position where you kind of need them to miss both. Missing one isn't going to be enough.
Matt Pressey, a pretty reliable foul shooter.
Yeah, I mean, you have to foul who you can foul. He isn't the guy you would have necessarily picked, and he does make them both. Bucci. Around the screen, Bucci driving in. I think he was looking for Huffer to go to the corner for a three.
Yeah, I think he understood that probably two wasn't enough, especially as they would need to foul.
Well, they're still in foul mode, but this game is gone from them now. 8-second violation, didn't get it over the halfway line in time, the Raiders, but with 25 seconds to go and an 11-point lead, it doesn't matter. Here's Evans, jammed in by Allison. Sayers gets it across to George. Martin looks up at the clock. Call the dogs off now, no need to even pressure the ball. And the Raiders fans starting to get to their feet, applaud their team. And after what has been a turbulent week for the Plymouth Raiders club, Nick George with an absolutely fantastic display, particularly in the third quarter, but throughout the game, has seen them to what has ended a relatively comfortable victory.
Yep, huge game for Plymouth. Nick George, from the outset, came out, fire in his belly, obviously taking a big leadership role, wanted to come out, prove a point, to say, yeah, there's been a couple of changes, but we're ready to go. I'm ready to keep on improving from this point out. Credit to the Wildcats, they remained in the game right to the final buzzer. Obviously the green machine came out in the end, the 9-point lead.
Well, a tremendous display from Nick George. 35 points off 13 of 18 shooting, include a perfect 5 of 5 from the three-point line. Easily the MVP of the game. His three-point shots really pulled them away. Tremendous second-half performance from the Plymouth Raiders to win that game. For Jamie Birchall, I'm Daniel Routledge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.